Hi everyone, it's Jason here, local tech experts with another build for you. Today I'm doing more HomeLab stuff. To be honest, I've been putting this video off and this process off for probably a month now. So if you've watched my previous HomeLab video, you'll know that I have this server here, which is a virtualization server. It does quite a bit, so kind of time sensitive because when this is not on, I have no website, no NAS, no home automation stuff. And these sorts of operations can always go a little bit pear-shaped, but I'm hoping it's not going to be the case this time. So I'm going to take the contents of this and put it into this new chassis that I have here. As well as that, this machine has 6 2TB SATA drives in it. So I'm going to be taking those, well, I'm going to leave them in there, but I'm also going to put in 3 4TB drives. These are SAS drives, so they're server drives. I have a RAID card that I'm going to be using in the garage, so there's going to be a bit of planning involved in this one. So I'll get to changing the chassis over, but part of this video is going to be software side as well, so there's going to be sort of 2 parts. This is the hardware part, and then I'll jump over into the software part and show you how I go about doing that. Alright, thanks guys, I'll see you at the end of this build. Bye. Hi everyone, so I'm back. It's a couple of days later finally got through it. Today's desk buddy is Masterpiece Laserbeak. It comes with Soundwave. It's a masterpiece. I'll show you Soundwave next time, but yep, he transforms into a cassette. It's pretty cool. Doesn't talk, so. Yeah, so that was a bit of a process. Usually it's the software side that I have trouble with, but in this case it was the hardware side. So anyway, it used to be in this case. Now I've changed the case over. In terms of what this is actually doing from my previous video, this is my sort of how my home network is set up, and this server is actually this virtualization server here. So it's running some virtualization software called Proxmox. If you don't know what a virtualization server is, it's basically you have a server with lots of resources and you split it up into smaller chunks to serve other purposes. This is Proxmox's interface, its web interface. You can see it's got 8 CPUs, 126 gigs of RAM in there. So I divvy up those resources into these various machines here. So I've got a couple of web servers, my NAS, my home assistant server, and that's a Minecraft server down there, which I'm going to let people jump onto as soon as I know that it works. I haven't been able to test it from outside yet, but yeah. So that was a bit of a process. You can see here, this is sort of, while I was doing it, there's 3 4TB hard drives down here and the 6 2TB are sitting over here. So, but in the end, what I ended up doing was in Proxmox you can designate hardware. So I was using a RAID controller and I just passed it through to the NAS and it just worked from there. I didn't have to end up doing all this nonsense here. I just ended up copying everything that was on these 2TB drives. There was 4TB total of data onto a local disk on the machine that I'm sitting on now, and then copy them across to these 4 drives which are sitting in the NAS. If I go here to disks, you can see there's 3 4TB drives in what's called RAID Z, which is 1 disk redundancy. So before I had 2 disk redundancy, now I've got just a single disk redundancy, but I think the trade-off is pretty good because I can use SAS drives, which are much cheaper, they run a bit quicker, all that sort of good stuff. So that's what this Proxmox server is doing. I've got 2 web servers here which don't take a lot of resources. You can see I've given them 2 CPUs and 2 gigs of RAM each, and they're still well underused. The NAS, it's just going to use as much memory as you give it. This sort of jumps up and down CPU depending on what it's doing. Home Assistant, I've given 2 CPUs, 3 gigs of RAM, and it still runs pretty well. That's the same sort of thing. You can pass through USB devices, so passing through Zigbee, Z-Wave, a couple of others, things like that. Minecraft server, I am giving it just 1 CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, which is probably overkill. Or probably the good thing with virtual machines is you can change the allocation of hardware up and down as you need it. So this one will probably end up taking the RAM down a little bit. But yeah, that's basically what the virtualization server there is doing. File server, web server, Minecraft, some other things. Yeah, so that was a bit of a process, but I got there in the end. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.